It is time for another ficus rescue. Actually, we're going to rescue two. Both of these ficus plants had been left on the street for literally months. I watched them survive 40-degree days and hailstorms. After being sure that no one was coming to claim them, I decided to finally rescue them. First, we have the Ficus Audrey. You can see the leaves were fairly burnt from being left outside. Obviously, the burn came after she was put outside, so I knew there was going to be another reason. To start with, I chopped off all the damaged leaves. This way, the plant can focus its energy on producing new foliage. Often when plants are abandoned like this, it's because they have a pest that the owner doesn't know how to deal with. And yes, this one did. She's got mealybugs. Mealybugs are actually very easy to deal with, but these ones were freaking massive, so I don't blame the previous owner for yeeting the plant outside. I ended up removing almost all of the leaves. They were either burnt or had mealybugs on them, and I wasn't about to wipe down each of these leaves in this state. Instead, I've gone for the drastic chop. Let's pop this one aside and grab the second ficus. This is a Ficus elastica burgundy, also known as a rubber plant. This poor gal was wedged between Audrey and a bin. I checked over the leaves and couldn't see any signs of mealybugs on this one, but there was a few spider sacs from being outside. I am in Australia after all. Again, I pruned the leaves that had sun damage. Burgundy definitely wasn't in as bad a state as Audrey was. I donned some gloves and got rid of all these leaves. I wasn't in the mood to touch a mealybug or a spider. I'm keeping both plants outside for obvious reasons. Rain is predicted for the next few days, so I'm not going to spray an insecticide. I live close to a natural waterway with lots of native plants and animals. I don't want any sprays to harm them. I also try not to spray outside because I don't want to harm any honeybees. Instead, I've opted to blast the plants with a hose. I'm not too worried about the surrounding plants because I removed the foliage that had pests. That being said, I've still put them in a separate spot. I also have a lot of birds that eat bugs, so I'm hoping they just come and have a feast. I know doing a heavy prune on plants can seem scary, but I have rescued quite a few ficus now and find they always bounce back even better than ever. Pruning plants is a great skill to learn. It's a good way to save an unhealthy plant, but it's also a great way to encourage new growth points on a healthy plant. Stick around to watch a previous ficus rescue with results. I rescued this poor fiddly fig exactly a month ago, and wait until you see all the new growth. After being left in a corner somewhere to dry out, she's now thriving and one of my favorite fiddles. If you've missed my previous videos, I rescued this plant from Bunnings for $10. I wasn't on the lookout for another plant, but I knew that she'd probably end up in the bin if I didn't rescue her and knew that I could save her. One of my most frequent requests is how to bring a fiddle leaf back to life, so let's go through it together. This was to give her a really good soak to decrease the stress she was going through and also try and wash off any pests that may have been lurking. Next up was damage control, which looks like removing any of these dodgy leaves. One of the main reasons I do this is so the plant can focus on producing new leaves and it's not trying to save these existing ones. As well as cutting them off, I gave every leaf a good tug just to make sure that they were sturdy and going to stay on the plant. Next up was pest control, and I sprayed this plant down with an insecticide. As well as dealing with any bugs that may have been hiding, it's also a fantastic leaf shine. This is the day after I rescued her, if you can believe it, and she already looks so much better. So now it is time for a repot. I honestly don't know what medium she was planted in, but it was not doing any favor for the roots, and it was holding a lot of moisture and taking up a lot of space. Fiddle leaves are one of those plants that like to dry out completely in between watering, so I'm swapping out whatever the heck this is for a well-draining chunky mix. I water my fiddle leaf figs every 2 weeks in summer and even less in winter. You do not want to overwater them because they are prone to root rot. Once she was repotted, I gave her another water and she was looking so much better. Within a week, she was already pushing out new leaves. This was due to removing those old ones, and I'd also given her a liquid NPK fertilizer. She was thriving, and then one night I woke up to an almighty crash, and my senior dog had knocked her over in the night. Now, I can't really blame him because it is a very top-heavy plant, so she was easy to topple. Because of this, I've decided to actually size her up into a bigger pot. And this is her today. She's pushed out so many new leaves, and not only pushed out leaves, but they are big and bright and beautiful. This is all just within a few weeks, so if you've got fiddles that are struggling, this is your sign to cut them right back and watch them thrive. There is new growth on the top and bottom, and even on those leggy stems. There's a few shots of the same leaves, just a few weeks apart. Let me know if you've got any more questions about how to save a fiddly fig. As you can see, it is definitely possible.